And here with the former Prime Minister. And of course, here it is 2 in the morning, and you are awake. You have been in meetings. It doesn't seem like anyone in the Israeli government is sleeping right now. What is the latest as you're able to tell us?
Well, we're still licking our wounds and have not identified all of the slaughtered Israelis, so that's one process. Right now in the south, it seems that we're on top of things, and here and there's a bunch of terrorists jumping out, but we, by and large, kill them. We're in a lull right now, in waiting for the next phase. The next phase is going to be our counterattack on Gaza. The big murder event is behind us, and now we're going to hit back within days.
Within days. And I guess that is the question, because it does feel here, we try to explain to everyone around the world, just there's this sense of waiting, but an ominous waiting, right? And businesses aren't fully open, and kids aren't in school, and then the troops are on the border, that you can't wait like that for long. And it sounds like you're not anticipating waiting like that for long.
That's right. I can't say exactly how long, but what I can tell you is that across the board in Israel, everyone, wall to wall, are eager to hit back.
Yeah.
I've been visiting various units. I myself was a combat soldier, and the enrollment rates, the enlistment rates are at about 130%, which means people who already were discharged years ago from reserve service are insisting to join and fight, because Israel took a huge hit, but make no mistake, while our hearts are shattered, our spirit is strong, and we're going to hit back.
And you talk about 130%. I've met a few of them. Once who said, a yoga instructor, I'm done. Has done my reserves. I came back in. So they are all
I also
there.
wanted to do it, but they didn't let me because I'm a prime minister, former prime minister. And
too high profile. I was in Beirut today, and I know you've been obviously to these scenes. It is horrific and impossible to describe. One soldier was telling me he's been serving for decades, never seen anything like it, going into a house. The specific story, the house had been burned, but it was locked. So he found a room inside with a 4-month-old girl baby, shot once in the head, on her back. These are things that you have seen, the unseeable and the unspeakable. At this moment, have you even had a chance to process this? Maybe you never will.
No, it's not. It's too early for that. Young girls gang raped and murdered and then burnt. Hands tied behind their backs.
We saw the zip ties there, lying around.
Moms with their babies, a pregnant woman whose baby was torn out while she was horrible things. Since Israel's establishment, we've never seen anything like this. The last time we've seen anything near stuff like this was the Shoah, the Holocaust. And we founded the state precisely so this would never happen again. So we gotta fix this. We can't change history, but we can shape the future. And we're gonna hit back on Hamas until we destroy them. We're gonna kill every Hamasnik possible.
And how do you define that destroying? I know you've made it clear that Israel doesn't have a desire to have Gaza, right? This is about specifically Hamas. But how do you draw that distinction? I mean, everyone knows it's impossible, it's not easy, but how are you actually going to do it from an operational perspective?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because you're right. Hamas's modus operandi, is to embed civilians as defense. So what we're doing is the following. We set a line pretty much in the middle of Gaza, and we told all people living north of that line to move to the south, vacated, and they are. The vast majority of Gazan residents are moving southward because we don't want to kill civilians. We're not going to target civilians. We never do that. Within a short time frame, once the north of Gaza is empty, anyone there, by definition, is Hamas. And then we're going to hit every Hamas installation, person, anyone related, related to the organization, anyone who assists the Hamas, and it's going to be we're going to unleash our power.
And a question, though, to state the obvious, when you announce you're going to do something, if you're a Hamas fighter, why would you stay around? I'm going to just put aside the fact that moving 1.1 million people is impossible in a short time, but you're telling them what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So how then do you expect them to stay?
Well, we're going to hit we're going to hit in all places, and since there are major operation centers and headquarters are there,
yes.
This will be meaningful. Now, at that point, they're going to have to make very tough decisions for the Hamas themselves, where they go, etc. I don't want to get into every operational, and I'm no longer prime minister, so at this time. So, but that's the plan. We're going to make a clear distinction. Anyone south of Gaza City, not including Gaza City. So everyone's got to be south of the city. From our perspective, that's the safe haven.
And how strongly do you feel that Rafah border needs to be opened in order for you to succeed at moving people down? I mean, again, we've been driving up along this border trying to make people understand that the small space you're talking about.
Right.
It's already the most densely populated place in the world, and you're now trying to double the population of half of it.
By the way, it's not the most densely place in the world. It's a misconception. New York is more dense. Paris is more dense. There's a misconception. There's enough land there. It's not going to be fun, but there's a huge difference between temporary refuge and burning babies and raping young girls. So, this is highly proportional and even way under the threshold. It's going to be tough. We're not going to prevent humanitarian aid from coming in. We're not going to provide them. Israel has no duty to provide another country with anything, and we're not going to do that. But if other countries want to, provide water, medicine, etc., that's theirs to do. We're fighting, from my perspective, a Nazi state. But again, we're not going to target civilians. We never do.
And I don't know if you've heard the news, but it was just Warren Lieberman obviously was stationed here in Jerusalem for a long time, as the Pentagon reporting that the U.S. is deploying another U.S. carrier strike group to the region, which is an incredibly high state of readiness, a very significant statement. I don't know if you were already aware of that, but what do you read into that?
Well, basically what America's doing, first of all, I have to thank President Biden, my friend, and the administration and the people of the United States of America. At this very tough moment for Israel, you're showing what friendship means and what being a dependable ally means. This is very meaningful. On a more concrete dimension, it's basically a signal to Hezbollah and Iran. Don't have any thoughts of entering this battle, because you're going to get hit hard, not only by Israel, but by others.
And in the north, Matthew Chance was just reporting from there up along that border. Obviously, it's a very dangerous place. A journalist was killed there. It is very dangerous, but you haven't yet seen, you're not seeing the same conflict there. You're not seeing what's going on here. Do you anticipate it will remain that way? What do you understand right now there to be in terms of communication or coordination or support between Hezbollah and Hamas at this moment?
Well, there's pressure on Hezbollah to enter, because Hamas is beginning to be in a much tougher situation than they envisioned. But Hezbollah cannot surprise us now, because we're there. We were taken by surprise by Hamas. But
yes.
In war, you never want to attack an enemy that's waiting for you. And that's precisely what we're doing with Hezbollah. We're waiting for them. And it would be tantamount to destructing Lebanon if they attack us. And since Nasrallah claims that he's the protector of Lebanon, I think it would be a big mistake for him to turn himself into the destroyer of Lebanon.
How do you feel right now about the fact that in Jordan, King Abdullah, and of course in Egypt, Sisi, are not opening their doors to large numbers of refugees? Do you think that they should?
I'm not going to give advice to both of them. They have their own interests. At the end of the day, we're not out to hurt the Gaza people, but we're also not responsible for them. We have no responsibility for an enemy state or any state. So whoever really cares can come and help, can come in and allow them in or whatever. And it's simply not our problem.
And then in terms of where your meetings are, one other question, of course, everyone's asking is when you make this move in these next few days that everyone knows you're going to do, you said you're going to do. What is your intelligence about Iran's response?
You see, that's also a good question. Iran is sort of the head of this octopus, and it has various arms. It has Hezbollah in Lebanon, it has Islamic Jihad and Hamas down in Gaza, it has Syria, and it knows that we will allow ourselves to hit it on the head in certain circumstances, and they are very vulnerable. They have an economy, they have many power centers. I think it would be a grave mistake for them to enter.
All right. Naftali Bennett, thank you very much. Very glad to see you. Obviously, these late hours of the night, early hours of the morning, Jim, and I think it's important to say the reason Naftali Bennett is here is like so many in the top levels of the Israeli government, they're working through the night too. And again, to your questions about when this happens, they're staying up all night doing these things. Human beings can only do that for so long, and obviously we're here in these final hours or days before that next move comes. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, I know it's been a lot of long hours for everybody there. Erin Burnett and to the former Prime Minister, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.